Today we are protesting a society that doesn't believe that Black lives matter.
He was kind to his Black slaves and his Black students.
We believe that we are an extremely vulnerable population.
West Virginians are always free and independent, and having to assume the identity of the Confederacy is really a tragedy for West Virginia.
Stonewall Jackson to us was a traitor. He was a slave owner.
We're here to exchange ideas and conversations. We may or may not agree in the end, but at least we have heard the other side and the other view.
The whole notion behind Black Lives Matter, is about the police and how the police see the community and how the community sees the police.
All together now. A special edition of West Virginia Tonight starts now.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us all across the state of West Virginia. I'm Mark Curtis. Tonight, a special edition of West Virginia Tonight. We're calling All Together Now. We're focusing entirely on racial issues in the Mountain State, and without everyone working together, we won't see effective change. But what started this conversation? You would probably say George Floyd. Protests are still happening across the nation in the wake of the 46-year-old's death at the hands of Minneapolis police officers on May 25th. Here in West Virginia, residents taking part in these demonstrations are demanding accountability and an end to police violence. From Morgantown to Charleston, people of all ages and occupations join together in support. Organizers say the point of all of this is to educate and hopefully, as a result, promote a wider respect of minorities of all colors. But beyond the immediacy of George Floyd, this is really about reckoning with our past as well. Slavery and the Civil War are still, 160 years later, bitter memories. It's brought many to reconsider our past, especially with regards to Civil War figures and events. Stonewall Jackson is a lightning rod in West Virginia, and West Virginia Tonight reporter Amanda Mueller explains why.
Stonewall Jackson's family roots are so entrenched, so deeply entangled in the very foundations of the communities of West Virginia, that at times it is difficult to understand where they actually begin.
He fought for what he felt was in defense of his state, and at that time we were a part of Virginia.
West Virginians are always free and independent, and having to assume the identity of the Confederacy is really a tragedy for West Virginia.
Virginia or West Virginia, there really is no denying the monumental influence of the Jackson family in Clarksburg.
You want to take down a statue of a man that was born here and done more for this county than any of us living?
Stonewall Jackson to us was a traitor. He was a slave owner.
Jackson spent much of his early years on his uncle's grist mill, known as Jackson's Mill in Lewis County. There, Jackson served as a school teacher. Some say this is where he taught a slave to read. But even stories like this are not without controversy.
He was kind to his Black slaves and his Black students.
If he taught them to read, did he free them after they learned how to read?
Stonewall Jackson's identity and what it means in West Virginia is now in question across the state. Kanawha County School Board voted to change the name of Stonewall Jackson Middle School. But in Harrison County, a vote to relocate his courthouse statue ended differently.
The motion dies for lack of a second.
Daughters of the Confederacy wanted to do. They wanted a constant reminder that we're still here, we're still watching you.
But even if commissioners removed the statue, the reach of Jackson is expansive. The Stonewall Jackson Hotel once towered over downtown, and just across the street, there is Stonewall Coffee.
He has done so many great things. Even after his time, he became a teacher.
For the Jackson family itself, the legacy has long been silent here. On top of a hill in Jackson Cemetery, Thomas Jackson's father and sister rest, buried alongside generations of Jacksons. The subtle signage and heavy silence, a stark contrast to the debate that drags on in the world of the living.
It stands for our history. It stands for a good, honorable man.
I would not have the opportunity to stand here and talk to you as I do if Stonewall Jackson had his way.
And if we're here to exchange ideas and conversations, we may or may not agree in the end, but at least we have heard the other side and the other view.
Reporting in West Virginia, I'm Amanda Mueller.
Well, joining us now to discuss these issues more in depth is Owens Brown, president of the West Virginia NAACP. Good to have you on the program, Mr. Brown. My first question is this. Have the Black Lives Matter protests been effective, especially considering that it has had a pretty wide, diverse cross-section of society out there protesting? It's not just African Americans.
Yes, the Black Lives Matter movement has been very effective. The diversity of the movement has made it more effective. The diversity challenges the status quo. It has saturated all aspects of our society, not only in America, but around the world. The term Black Lives Matter is no longer a symbol of color. It has transcended race, I believe, and become a symbol of justice and unconditional regard and acceptance of all people.
Let's talk about the renaming of monuments and schools and other things. Stonewall Jackson Middle School here in Charleston is no longer. It's now Westside Middle School. We heard the debate about the statue in Harrison County. How far does the NAACP want to see this renaming concept go? And are we going to rename things that are named after George Washington and Thomas Jefferson?
Yes, we support the renaming of other things. And that the other Confederate icons of repression that are still today impacting our societal attitude. When it comes to Washington and Jefferson, we have not taken a position. Me personally, I'm not a purist in that respect, and I will give them a mulligan.
All right, Owens Brown, president of the West Virginia chapter of the NAACP, we thank you for joining us. We look forward to further discussions with you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Coming up next, does religion have an impact on race-related issues? We'll talk with local religious leaders about how they are helping their communities navigate these difficult topics after the break.